Hey guys, welcome to Gate Fate CS. Here we have today with us Mr. Ratul Chatterjee. He got AIR-677 in Gate CS and he got admission into IIT Madras MS Research. And with his words, and we will let us know how he got into IIT MSR. So, hello Ratul. Uh,
Uh,
Hi.
hello everyone. So I am Ratul Chatterjee. I have secured an All India rank of 677 this time in GATE CS 2024, and I already had a rank of 738 last year in GATE 2023, and the rank wasn't very much improved this time, and so the score was quite a bit improved because last year I had a score of around 650. So this time it's 730, around 730, I guess 731 the
Hmm.
score. But since the admissions are always based on the ranks, so and not on the scores that much, so it was the same thing for me because both the ranks were around 700, and it was quite like disappointed for me, disappointment I will say, because like 1 year I have to again drop and again prepare all the things and get the same rank, and that is quite like dissatisfying. Anyways, I was just looking for the colleges that I can get, and since I'm from general EWS category, and my colleges mostly were the second generation IITs, and hardly I can get IIT
Yeah, yeah.
Hyderabad and Guwahati and that Roorkee, which are the last of the best IITs that are in India. So I was very much like tense that if I could not get them, then it's like a 1 year drop is not that worth, and I have wasted a year in my life. So these things were there, but
Uh,
then in YouTube and also in LinkedIn, I found out that there are other opportunities to get into IITs. So that we will be discussing in this video.
yeah, sure, Ratul. Process you were saying you are getting to IIT Madras, right? I mean, what is the process you have gone through? So please explain and what you have gone through.
So the process of getting through MS will vary from various IITs. Like in some colleges there may be 2 rounds, or in some colleges there may be 3 rounds, or some colleges there will be just a coding round, and it will just vary from different colleges. And since I have given only the IIT Madras interview,
Hmm.
and so I will be speaking of only about IIT Madras only.
Yes, sure.
And so the interview process was quite simple. Like first, there was you have to just uh, fill a form, which is the interview form that you want to appear for here, and give out the fees. Then they will
Hmm.
select on the basis of your GATE scores, and later that there will be some written rounds and interview rounds. After that, you will get selected finally. So the interview process was quite big, I will say, because
Oh.
there were almost 2 or 3 rounds mostly.
Hmm.
And yeah, mostly if you consider in other IITs like IIT Bombay also, like there also the number of rounds are same, because the written test is not there, but there is a programming test after which is followed by this interview round. So you have to just get through these rounds in most of the cases.
Okay. Yeah, Rutul. And could you please explain? I mean, what is the complete process you have gone through this selection procedure of IIT
Yeah, yeah.
Madras
I
Research?
will definitely say that what is a complete process. So this part will be a quite a big one.
Yeah,
So first I
we
will
are ready.
share my uh, screen, because I have already taken out some things
Yeah,
like
sure.
yeah. So I can. I hope you can see my screen, right? My
Mm.
screen is visible.
Yes, right now it's fine. Yeah.
Okay. So here I have already written out a blog, like how what are the things that had happened to me in IIT Madras, and these things. But it is
Okay.
quite big, and you may find it boring, like reading this. So I am just telling in brief, like what are
Sure.
the various things. So this is what you have heard about the introduction about me, and these are the places that I have. Means these are not the places that I have been applied to, But these are places that you can apply if you have a rank between this range, okay, or this range, and this is only for the general category students or EWS
Okay.
category. If you have a rank around 1.5K, so
Mm-hmm.
you must apply to all of these things that I have mentioned here. Okay.
Okay.
So next is about what are the after you have applied. So most colleges will take all colleges will have a cut-off score. Generally, IIT Bombay will release a cut-off score beforehand. Like IIT Bombay on the website, it was mentioned around 650 and
Mm-hmm.
600 was the cutoff for general category and also for the
Okay.
EWS category. And for
Okay.
OBC and others, you can consider it will be very less, like around 500 gate score
Yes.
or
Yes.
around 350 gates full like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so in that case, the you can see I have also mentioned here that if you have a gate score of 650 and above, then you must apply to all of these courses. Okay, and
Mm-hmm.
since the area is not more, the COVID time is gone. So mostly you
Mm-hmm.
can expect that in all of these you have to just visit the campus and give the interview or the written test. Because
Okay.
during the COVID session, there was the thing that you can sit at home and give
Yes.
interviews,
Yes.
and there are also possibilities like one interview will clash on the other day and then you cannot go. But to make sure that you just fill all this so that you don't feel like the FOMO thing, like I am not applied to anything and all the opportunities
Yeah.
are gone,
People
and
might have a regret not for
yeah,
not applying.
not
Yeah.
not applying to any of these, and all my friends are getting to in here and there.
Yeah.
So
Got it.
don't fall in that trap. And
Got it.
next, I have mentioned here the cutoff for the computer science paper. Like here you can see that it is given that CS, MA, and EC, like mathematics
Mm-hmm.
paper is allowed, and the electronics paper, which is EC, and CS
Okay.
paper, people can apply for computer science. And here you can just check that it is 600 gate score is required, which is I think around 2000 rank this year or 1.8K, something like that. Okay. So if
Huh.
you are having 600 feet score, so they will be you are just crossing the first cutoff. So we weren't sure that how many number of people had applied to this, but later our HOD sir from IIT Madras told that almost like 1200 people have applied to here, and the number of people who were selected after this cutoff was like 235. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so I can show you that list also. Wait,
Yeah.
let me
Please.
just open the list. It's- Okay, so here this tab is. So I think the tab is visible.
No. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so here you can see that this is the page that contains all the links for the interview process and that thing. So that
Mm-hmm.
thing that cutoff I have taken from here only. Like you can
Mm-hmm.
see here that criteria thing that here the 600 is the cutoff. And for direct
Okay.
PhD, these things also the cutoff is almost the same this time. Okay.
Okay.
And here you can find out a short list, and this will contain all the short list of the people that has been shortlisted after applying the GATE score cutoff. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Uh, and next thing that I was telling, so let's come here, and I have mentioned here what are the like some may have a problem like if I have done BSc or BCA, then
Yes.
whether I
Yes.
am eligible or not. So no, you are not eligible. You have to do that MSc or MCA kind of thing, and then next you will be considered equivalent to a BTech degree. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
or if you have a BTech or BS degree, then it's very fine. Like here, it is written like B Bachelor of Sciences in Computer Science, Data Science. This is BM is that new paper that has been introduced this time,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
and EC is that
Yeah.
EC,
Electronics.
yeah, that electronics thing. Okay, so like the link has been given here. I think the link is of the same thing. Yeah, the link is of the same thing that I have posted.
Mm-hmm.
So this was the first round, after which the number of people were selected was around 235. So
Okay.
let me just okay, so let me just write it down. Like after the so share this tab instead. Yeah. So like you can assume that 1200 people have applied. These were the number of applied. Okay. Now after this, the gate score cutoff was used.
Mm-hmm.
Gate score. and 235 people
They
were selected,
shortlisted.
were
Yeah.
shortlisted. Okay, so now after this, they had asked us to appear for a research aptitude test, which wasn't
Okay.
written in their mail that came in the first place. The mail was
Mm-hmm.
like this. Yeah, I was also attached a screenshot from the mail that there will be
Mm-hmm.
a written test which will be of 2 hours and containing the subjects of the gate computer science things. Like you can
Okay.
see these things are all of gate computer science from the gate
Yeah.
computer
Yeah.
science syllabus. And then there will be that thing, the interview process. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so, but they told us that there will be, I have written that a mail was to be held on 25th April, and they had already given out that the schedules for various of these branches, that when we will be having the research aptitude test. So we
Okay.
weren't sure that whether this was to be taken into the selection procedure, because the mail
Mm.
that came earlier that contained the selection procedure was based on the written test and interview only, and not on
Okay.
this research aptitude thing.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it. This is not
Mm.
a elimination for.
This is yeah. I don't think this that the elimination had happened in this case,
Okay.
because the in the website also the marks are still not updated. So I can show you that
Oh.
also.
Yeah.
Wait, let me open the website. So like here you can see that this is the website. I guess the tab is visible, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So this
visible.
is my tab, and you can see that grade has still not been updated
Ah.
here, and this is mine only. You can
Okay.
see the
This test
names.
is not an elimination.
No, it
They're
is
not.
not an elimination, but this was compulsory. Like if you are not
Yeah.
sitting for this one, then you will not be considered
Considered.
as
Not considered. Yeah.
latter
Got
one.
it. Got it. Got
Okay.
it.
Yeah. So the next thing was, I guess, from this round, around
Mm-hmm.
170 people. Was I wasn't sure about this number, so I'm just writing
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
around 170 after the research aptitude.
Okay.
After the research aptitude, around 170 people were shortlisted,
Mm-hmm.
and they were all asked to visit the campus for the future rounds, okay, which is
Okay.
the written and the
That
interview round.
okay. Let me summarize. I mean, for now, I mean, the test was happened on online. Around 170 was shortlisted, and those people should have visit interview. I mean, in the offline.
Yeah, for the written and interview both.
Yeah, got it. Got it. Okay, there
Mm.
will be another written test in the offline
Yeah,
itself.
there will be another written test. This written test was just to, I don't know how they have evaluated this, and this was
Okay.
just something that you can, that all the 235 people, if they appeared here,
Mm-hmm.
then all of them have to come to the campus. Since
Oh,
some have not appeared, so they won't be allowed in the future rounds.
oh yeah, got it.
So, like that. Okay. So, and one more thing to add in this, that if you are not getting, so wait, I'm showing you some of the papers of which I have collected here also.
Yeah.
So these are the sample papers that you can see here. Like
Mm-hmm.
these are the sample papers I have attached, and you can just go through each of these sample papers. And
Yeah.
given that the difficulty of these questions, like they are not like quite conventional, they are
Mm-hmm.
on bit on the difficult side.
Okay.
And if you are not able to do it correctly also, then they will like give you marks on the basis of what you have written there. So this
Okay.
is kind of a descriptive thing and not a objective type thing. So there is some marks on what you how you are explaining the things, how well you are,
Okay.
can explain the things.
How you are
Okay.
approaching the questions?
Yeah, how you're approaching the questions. So even if you're not getting the correct answer, you will get some marks based on that
Yeah.
things. Mm.
Basically, they were seeing the approach. How you are approaching the question?
Approaching, yeah,
Yeah.
approaching the questions. That is what we have seen. So these are all the sample papers that I have
Uh-huh.
collected, and I have attached some of the papers also. Let me just share. I have attached some papers like here, like the CS and the TSAI that was given, and the
Mm-hmm.
test was of 1 hour only. Okay, so test was
Okay.
not of. like huge time you will be having. Like you can see the duration is only 60 minutes. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and there was some additional time given to us for
Ah,
that submitting thing. Like
okay, okay.
30 minutes was for extra, but out of that 30 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
for the first 10 minutes, like after 1 hour 10 minutes, there will be some penalty marks.
Okay.
Like if you are
So,
submitting it late.
so for 60 minutes, how many
Hmm.
questions were there?
There were 6 questions in each
Okay.
paper, and you have to write them down in paper and scan the photograph and
Oh,
send it to the portal.
this is, I mean, this way of written test I've never seen. I mean, this is you are writing. I mean, you are writing in some notebook or paper, and you have to scan
Yeah,
the
scan the
answers,
like
and you have to upload.
yeah,
This
and
is
they have
somewhat
also
different. Yeah.
written that they are not proctoring this. We are not proctoring this exam.
Oh,
The firm believe that you will
okay.
maintain the things, and even if you try to cheat in this, you will not be able to because the questions are very like they are not very easy, and
Uh-huh.
even if you are trying with any AI bot like Chat GPT and all, they will generally give wrong answers, and professors can catch that easily
Yes,
because
they were
the
intellectual. Yeah.
yeah, they will easily catch you.
Got
So
it.
be
Got it.
careful. Like whatever you are thinking, just write it down. It
Uh-huh.
may or may not be correct, but yeah, that is what they will accept.
Yeah. Got
Okay.
it.
So this was all that happened to that day, and
Mm-hmm.
we have to go to the next week. We have to visit the campus.
Okay.
So the campus was very beautiful. I will tell you about the campus after later on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the
Sure.
written test, then the written test comes into the picture. Okay, so before going to the written test, I want to share that this type of like written test, then interview, this may or may not happen every year. Like I'm showing you something from 2023. Okay,
Hmm.
so this tab is from 20. This is the 2023 brochure, and the
Okay.
2023 brochure says that there will be 2 rounds of interview and there will be no written test in this case.
Oh,
Okay. So the first round will contain the discrete maths and the C
C
programming. So
program.
you this duration will be of 15 minutes, and you can just choose any of these. Okay, whether it's discrete maths and C programming, and you will be asked questions. And after you are getting shortlisted after the round one, you can appear for the next round interview in the
Okay.
round two. And the round two interview is almost the same. You have to just choose only one topic from all of these schools, like only
Mm-hmm.
one, and then you can just appear for the interview in case of the round two. And
Okay.
I'm showing you this year's, which is of 2024. And this year's, this is the mail they have given, and you can just see that the candidates will be asked questions, and here and there they have written. But the thing is that they are first taking the written test this time, and no double
Uh-huh.
round interview.
Okay.
Okay, so this is what has changed from last year. So you can expect that it may have a coding round as well in future. So there is no such
Oh,
guarantee that it will contain a written test and then it will contain something like interview. It can contain a coding round that they can apply any kind of shortlisting they want if they are
okay.
finding it like students are finding
There
very
is
easy in written test.
there is nothing like anything fixed procedure.
Fixed, yeah. There is
Yeah.
no fixed procedure for written test and all.
Yeah. Yeah. Got it.
So I can now proceed to the written test part. So the written
Yeah.
test
Sure.
was to be held, I guess, on 6th. Yeah, written test was to be held on 6th, and
Mm-hmm.
we were in the campus. The campus had already provided accommodation and all to us, and
Okay.
I was there from 5th in the inside the
Mm-hmm.
campus. So and the written test was to be held around 8 a.m. in the morning. But
Oh.
when I reached there in the CS, that building, that computer science department,
Mm-hmm.
then they told us that there will be some orientation program for 2 hours, almost like 1.5 hours, and so
Okay.
the written test was delayed by like those that time, the 2 hours. It was delayed, and
Mm-hmm.
after that, the written test was started in the Moodle portal, that is that NPTEL portal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and it was a computer-based test, and I
Okay.
have also like this. Yeah, I have also collected some of the questions that I
Oh,
remember during the written test. Okay, so these are the questions that I have already attached here during my written test. And the thing that was funny in the written test was there was given that the maximum marks was 40,
okay.
and you have to answer only each question was of 2 marks. So the number of questions were 30. So you can easily calculate that it was 60 marks. But it was given that the maximum marks was 40, and you have to answer like 20 out of 30 questions, but you can answer more, and that will be considered as bonus most probably. I don't know. Okay.
Got it. Got it.
So the written test was quite simple, I will say, not very difficult or neither very easy type. It was like simple questions, and you can just see whatever questions that I have got
How's
here.
the level? I mean, how was the level compared with the gate?
It's same, almost
Yeah.
same, like a moderate
Okay.
gate paper. If you take papers of 2024 or 2021, not
Hmm.
as hard as the 2022 paper, but
Okay.
almost on the, I will say, moderate side, not easier side, because some concepts are there which may look easier for some people who have studied
Okay.
those, but if you haven't studied those, then yeah, it will be difficult for you.
Yeah. Got that.
Okay, so the papers I have included here, I remember 27 questions out of the 30. So I
Okay.
don't remember the last three questions. So pardon me for that. And the paper, after giving the paper, they told us like it was over by 12 noon. Okay, so we went for the lunch, and then they asked us that you can come here after 1 or 1:30, or even after
Okay.
1:25, and then you can just check what is your papers and how was whether you were shortlisted or not.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so the shortlisting was very. Okay, so my camera was working. Yeah, I think the
Yeah.
camera
Yeah.
is fine.
Yeah, it's fine. You can
Mm,
continue.
okay, so the shortlisting was of around. So wait, let me just write it down again. So the number of people after getting aware who had appeared there were 144 exact. I remember this number. This was
Okay.
144 who have just gone there after the
26
170
people.
people who were appeared for the research aptitude. Okay, so the remaining people haven't showed up. Okay,
Okay.
okay. And from here, after the written test, 46 people were selected only.
Oh.
Rest were asked to go back home.
Though
Uh,
they only mentioned the shortlisting people, or did they mention
yeah.
any
So
cutoff?
after the yeah, and you complete the question.
I mean, did they mention any cutoff for the written test, something like
No,
that,
no, no,
or
no, no.
they only mentioned
So
the
after
people?
the interview, after our written test was over,
Hmm.
I was with one of my friend there,
Hmm.
and he has also cleared the cutoff. So we
Okay.
asked a sir there, who was a professor, and that what is our marks, how we can know. So he told us that since it is a government exam, and
Hmm.
mostly we cannot publish everyone's marks. So if you want
Okay.
to know your marks only, you have to put an RTI on that. Okay, so
Okay.
you will get your marks what you have got.
Hmm.
And asking about the cutoff, I have like
Hmm.
collected people's opinion, like how they have uh, attempted the test. And
Hmm.
so based on that, I can say that the 40 marks was the cutoff, because you have to
Okay.
do 20 questions correct out of the 30
Out of it.
and or more. Okay,
Hmm.
so this was the cutoff, like 20 plus questions. If you are doing correctly, then they will take you to the next round. So
Next.
they were also saying that the students have performed very well,
Hmm.
and so the cutoff was very high. And since they cannot select like 100 people for interviews, because they
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
take the interview also, so they had selected whatever the maximum capacity was there for them. But the funny thing is that they have mentioned the maximum marks was 40, and they said finally the cutoff was 40 as well. And
Okay.
so if you are doing at least 20 or more correct, so you will get selected.
Mm.
And if you are on edge, like you have attempted 20 and you have done one or two wrong, then you will get not selected. Like it happened to some of my friends
Mm-hmm.
that they were not selected because they did like 20 or 21 correct. 21 they
Mm-hmm.
attempted, but
Mm-hmm.
they did wrong about 3 to 4 questions, or 1 or 2 questions also they did wrong. So it was below 20
Okay.
number of questions that were correct. So that's how it
Who did
works.
extra, they were benefited.
Yeah, if you have done extra, like I have done almost 26 questions,
Ah.
and of which I made a mistake in one question.
Mm-hmm.
So that was helpful for me. Like 25 plus or 20 plus questions, that is, you are in the safe zone. Like,
Oh,
you can just go to the next round.
yeah.
They haven't mentioned any cutoff. They haven't mentioned any score. You cannot know. The most importantly is that they have pasted a list on the that notice board of all
Okay.
the 46 candidates, and in that also they haven't maintained any order. Like they were
Oh,
shortlisted on the basis of the systems. Like if you are placed in system one and if you have more than 40 marks, then your name will appear, and nothing like that. The marks wise the things are on the list. There is no kind of sorting
there
is
is
applied
nothing
for
like
that.
ranking also. Yeah.
Yeah, there is nothing ranking in that.
Yeah. So the next round was interview. Tell me about
Yeah.
the interview experience first.
So the interview that day, the this was the story of the 6th May. Okay.
Mm.
So after the 6th May, then we were asked for the document verification, like the class 10, 12 results, and all those things, that provisional certificates and category certificates, if you have any. These
Mm.
things were verified, and the day was almost over. And the direct PhD people were then asked to give the interview, and we were said that if you have a hurry to leave today only, then you can give the interview. But if you don't have a hurry to leave today, then you can give the interview tomorrow as well. So we obviously chose for tomorrow because the
Ah,
day was over and we were feeling very exhausted after such
got it, got
rigorous
it.
things. And so then after the day was over, I went back to my that hostel thing that they have given for accommodation, and then I came here preparing that linear algebra only,
Ah, okay.
and
Ah,
rest things I didn't prepare as well,
okay.
because whatever I remember is from the gate which happened like 2 or 3 months ago, and
Okay.
hardly I remember things from gate now.
Yeah.
And so then in written test also, like the things were very simple, so I don't have to remember the like theoretical things, like if this is there then this is happening. They were asking quite mathematical things which like normal common sense things were there in
Oh.
it. So and after the now coming to the interview, there were three panels generally, and mostly all the IITs, top IITs, you will see that there will be the three panels only. So these
Hmm.
are the three panels I'm showing you. So this is the theoretical computer science panel, the first one,
Yeah.
and the second one is obviously the systems panel, which deals
Systems.
with systems things like these things, and the last one, which is the new area, which is the AIML panel.
AML file. Yeah.
Yeah,
This is the
yeah,
intelligent systems.
yeah, this is the intelligent systems panel, and
Yeah.
this is the systems, and this is the theoretical computer science. Okay, so there we were asked to give interview in two of the three. Like I can choose to give
Okay.
interview in any two of my choice, and then if I have given one of the interview good, then
Hmm.
will be selected. It's not like that you have to give both the interviews very well and then you will be selected for
I
that.
mean, is it at least two, or I mean, you can
At
give
most two,
three?
it is at least one, because
Okay.
obviously you have to give one interview.
Yeah.
It is at least one, and it is at most two. Like you cannot give in all the three.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this preference they had already taken from us before during the form fill up, and
Uh-huh.
in that I have filled for AIML and systems. But later I went there and they were allowing
Hmm.
to change, so I just changed it to the theoretical computer science,
Huh.
and then I went for AIML because I was preparing for that also.
Okay.
Okay. So uh, they were quite like humble and very helpful and friendly as well there. Like if you are
Mm-hmm.
doing some mistake in form fill up, they are not that is not a big issue for them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So next is that how was the interview experience at both the places?
Mm.
So generally, since I'm telling that I was preparing for AIML,
Mm.
so the other interview I chose just for like trial purpose. Like, yeah, I can just go and see how the interview will be taking place when I will be for AIML interview,
Yeah.
and that was the thing. And so I chose the A, and luckily the A interview was before the C interview. Like A was
Mm-hmm.
on the morning of 7th,
Okay.
and C was in the afternoon shift, that is from 2 to 6 p.m.
Okay.
Okay, and if I had chosen for B, then the C will be on the morning and B will be on the afternoon shift. So that won't work out the way I thought it. So I was lucky in this case that I got a trial interview here. Okay. So in that interview also, like theoretical computer science interview, I will say quite difficult for most of the people. Some people got easier, and some people got really difficult things. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling on my experience that what were asked to me, and I have also written it here, like what was asked here. Like first question was why you want to do MS. Okay, so this is a very common question that you can expect from a professor, like
Yeah.
why you want to do MS rather than getting an MTech in IIT. Okay, MTech in any good IIT. Like if you are also like I have seen people with 300 ranks who have came here, and they were also asked the same question. Like you can get a good first generation IIT itself, and why not the first generation IIT and 2 years MTech rather than a 3 years or 2.5
Yes.
years course in this case. So you can just explain that I want to do research and all those things, but the main motive is that you want this better college than that one. So just to tell that yeah, I want to do some research kind of things. I have quite an interest. I have read these many books and all during my preparation days, and they will be like okay. And then they asked me another question, why TCS panel and not the
Mm-hmm.
other panels. So I told that I am quite fond of mathematics, and
Mm-hmm.
I want the TCS things, and the system subjects are very much like
Mm-hmm.
you have to buy heart a lot of things there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not good in that and may forget things. So I think that the TCS is for good one for me. So this was just to make you comfortable in that situation. And after that, the real questions will start. So there were like five professors sitting there, and 5 or 6 professors, and only three of them were asking questions, and rest were just there. Okay, so there was a ma'am who was asked me the first question, like I am giving you snake and ladder game. Okay,
Oh. Okay.
and you have to just formulate the entire idea of snake and ladder game into
Uh-huh.
computer science problem and
Okay.
solve it. Okay, so this was like I was very tensed, like how I can come up with a solution to this. So I started them explaining that yeah, the snake and ladders will have some ladders and snakes that can take me up and down, and the die was
Mm.
also normal. And when I asked the question about the die, they told me instantly that don't tell us about something about the probability of that.
Mm.
Okay, the probability of doing this and that. So they reframed the question and they asked me that in this computer science problem, tell me that what is the minimum number of throws that I can reach from one to the nth position, like the final one
Okay.
when you win the game. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
you have to tell me what is the minimum number of dice throws and how they come up with an algorithm regarding that. So
Mm.
they were asking about this and not the probability of this. So
Okay.
then
This seems tough.
yeah, it seems very tough. And then I was like, okay, I will make these every cell like 1, 2, 3 as the vertices, and then
Mm.
the ladders as the edges. And
Mm.
then they asked me that will the snakes play? Will not the snakes play any role in this case? So then I
Okay.
thought that yeah, the snakes will also play, right? Because like consider that there is some snake which is taking you down, and there is a big ladder after that,
Mm.
so you can reach it very fast. Okay, so that is also the thing. So I was quite confused, and I just told that I think Dijkstra single or shortest path algorithm will work in this case.
Uh,
Okay, so they were saying that yeah, you are on the right path, but this is not the correct one. So
Okay.
I haven't seen the answer of this, but I think mostly the Floyd-Warshall algorithm will work in this case. So it was quite a
Yes,
bouncer
yes.
to me.
Yeah, the first one is when. Oh, what is your feeling? I mean, the first one you got the tough question. I
Yeah,
mean,
before that, someone was asked about say almost a tough question like this only. Like the level
uh-huh.
was, I understood that the level will be very tough, and I had no expectations from this also. Like
One.
I haven't
Yes,
prepared
yes.
for this, so
You are
it was
preparing
like
for intelligence
yeah,
systems. Yeah.
yeah. So it was like okay that I gave it, and they told me that yeah, you can just go after the interview was over. They didn't told me that and I didn't see any happy faces also. So I was sure that I was wouldn't be selected here. And so continuing with this part, and they asked me that can you show me the Dijkstra's single source shortest path algorithm? So I just started explaining, and since I had not touched it the topic, so I explained them, and in middle I started explaining the Prim's algorithm instead of
Oh.
Dijkstra, since the Prims and Dijkstra is almost same, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
There is the previous age weights have to be taken in Dijkstra. In Prims we don't take it. So I was doing that, and then there was a ma'am that pointed out that thing that just giving they will give you hints always, and
Again.
by the hint that I got it that yeah I am missing it out, and then they asked me about the time complexity. I just told the time complexity I remember. Then they asked me that no, you cannot tell the time complexity directly. You have to tell me exact what time it is taking for each thing.
Okay.
Okay, then I started explaining that this is this, then this is that. I also messed up there also because the subject was not in my touch, and
Hmm.
like I made it e log something e log b and v log e. I was confused there, and it was like a total mess for me. And
Okay.
in that interview, I was sure that yeah, I'm rejected from here only. I cannot answer any of the questions correctly, so I think this is not going to happen. So after the interview was very short, like 20 minutes only, and I came out. Then I told the other people who were sitting there for interview, like these are they are asking, and they also told that this is quite tough and not a conventional question to.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and there was one girl who was asked like insertion and deletion in linked list, so that
Oh.
was very simple.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, so
Has to be lucky at the
she
point of
she
time.
was
Yeah.
lucky, but then there were others also. Like they were asking some questions about you have some electric poles, okay,
Hmm.
and you have to supply some current or something like that with the minimum number of wires and something like this. And the questions were really on the tougher side,
Tougher say, yeah.
and they were mostly focusing on the optimization of binary search. Like the binary search has a lot of algorithm, it means lot of
Hmm.
applications.
Applications,
Okay, and
yes.
mostly we don't study those applications in our gate.
Yeah.
Like we only know the recurrence relation, time complexity, and all these things.
Hmm.
The binary search has a lot of applications, and we generally don't are not aware of the applications of binary search. So they were asking about like if even if you come up with a binary search algorithm, and then they will ask you please optimize this again. Okay, so you need the knowledge of the dynamic programming and all those,
Yeah. Got
and
it. Got
then you have to get it done.
it.
So it
Okay.
was quite on the difficult side, I will say, for any person who had been selected for the theoretical computer science panel. And the number of the seats were only five. Like
Oh.
people who were interviewed here were almost like 30, and the number of
Hmm.
seats were only five. So it was very tough, competitive, and very tough as well to get here.
Got it. Got it.
Hmm. So should I start with the next, that is the panel
Yeah.
C?
Before going to that, I mean, how do you generalize this panel? So,
So
how the people? I mean, what kind of a people should look for this panel?
So the mostly you have to be good with someone chose probability also here, since there
Okay.
was mentioned that probability is also there. So they asked about what is the expectation of getting a local minima in an array.
Okay.
Like local minima means the element has to be smaller than its left and right element,
Ah.
and they were asking about the expectation of this. and the guy spent like he found out the minimum and the maximum occurrences, but he could not get the means that expectation kind of thing. So they spent with him 20-25 minutes, but he could not come up with any answer. So this panel, I will say, it is quite like on the difficult side. And if you are good with coding like things, like if you
Mm-hmm.
have practiced a lot of lead code problems and all these things, then you should focus on the theoretical computer science part. Like mostly, if you are very very lucky, then you will get the questions like the that
Simpler say.
yeah,
Mm.
linked list things
Yes, yes,
and
yes.
all those things. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, let's go to panel C.
Okay, so the panel C interview was quite different from this one because in panel C, there were I guess seven professors who
Oh,
were there.
yeah.
Okay,
Someone was sitting in front of you.
yeah, seven professors were there,
Okay.
and they were all asking. No, all were not asking. Like for different persons, they're different because there
Mm,
is not a single person who is asking questions to all. Like someone, like if I'm interviewed by an interviewer A, then the other person will be interviewed by an interviewer B. So the questions
okay.
will very much differ from one person to another. And they were also not letting, like if you have completed your interview, you have to leave the waiting room. Okay, you cannot go back and tell what are the questions that you have been asked
Okay.
in panel
They
C.
maintain the secrecy.
Yeah. So the panel's interview was from 2 p.m. and I was late after the lunch. So they were calling me like, "Come fast, where are you?" Okay.
Okay.
So I reached late there,
Uh,
and they were just randomly taking up the list that they were having, and I was after like four or five people. Okay. So mostly that the questions that I heard because some people who have given the BC preference, they had the panels in the morning, and
okay.
mostly that I was like aware that what are the kinds of questions they were asking, like eigenvalues things and determinants things, and not
Mm-hmm.
more on the diagonalization concepts and these things, which are quite on the difficult side, I will say.
Mm.
So the interview was started from around like I don't remember the exact time, but around 3:30 or 4 p.m. Okay.
Okay.
So the first interviewer that asked me that Ratul, what panels have you applied for? So I told them that A and C. Okay.
Okay.
So then they asked me that what have you chosen in A? So I
Mm.
told them that I have chosen data structures and algorithms in A. So he immediately told me that you cannot choose data structure and an algorithm in panel C anymore.
Okay.
Okay, so you cannot prepare like I will prepare only one subject and I will go with that. So that is not gonna happen in this case.
Okay.
So yeah, you have to prepare with the different subjects, and they will ask you from there. And then from there, he asked me about which year did you pass out and what you, since I'm 2023 pass out, he asked me what you did for the last 1 year. So I was working in a company, which is, I'm not mentioning the name of that. Okay.
Okay, sure.
So I'm working there as a content creator, like I used to make the short notes and all those things.
Okay.
And so I just he thought that I can tell them like I had done this and this, but I just told them that I was doing gate preparation full time and I didn't do any kind of job. And so they asked me that same thing that you have got us a gate score of 731 and you didn't do a job this time. And I just said yes, sir, that I was doing full time preparation. So then they looked at my CGPA. Like
Mm-hmm.
I got a 9.29 CGPA and asked me from which college you are. And since I am Bengali, the professor that was sitting there, he was also a Bengali professor. So he asked me, and then I told my college name. And since it's not a renowned one, he asked me, "Where is it?" Uh,
Most of us are away
most,
from tier
yeah,
three.
from tier 3 colleges, so
Yeah.
they don't know the names of the colleges. So after that, they are yeah, okay. Now you can choose whatever subject you want, other than
Mm-hmm.
that data structures and algorithms. So I think we were given an okay, wait, yeah. So you can see that the discrete maths is there, data structures is there, and algorithms. So for me, these two options were gone already. I cannot
Yeah.
choose this or I cannot choose this. So I have to choose either this or this. So I have prepared for linear algebra, and so I chose it without any second thinking, like anything I will else choose. So and the interviewer was now changed, like another sir came, and
Okay.
he was already there. He was now came into the picture that yeah, I will interview you. So let's start, Ratul. So the first questions, the initially the questions they asked were like to make you familiar with the things, like yeah, you are in such an environment, you don't have to fear us, like these things. uh, and so first question was asked that what is mean by the span of the vectors. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so just I told them that yeah, this is the span of the vectors, and I was quite like not satisfied with like telling them in the definition. So I asked them that can I use the board, and
Oh.
then I just went to the board and just showed them what is the mathematical meaning and how we are obtaining it geometrically as well on R2 plane. And then he has also asked me that so what will be the span of the vectors in R2? Like if I take two vectors, and how will its span look like, and what are the things? So I explained them that the things that if two vectors are not the collinear vectors, then their span will be the entire R2 space and all these
Hmm.
things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so you can read my answers. I have already mentioned in this blog. Okay,
Sure.
so
We will
next
pin this link in the comment
in
section.
the description also.
Yeah.
So
Description.
yeah,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
description, yeah. And then I have read. They have asked me that like we are in R3, and we have want to generate any vector B in R3.
Mm-hmm.
So how we can make sure that my three vectors will be able to generate any vector in R3. So
Hmm.
you are given three vectors in R3, and you have to make sure that you are generating any vector in R3. So I explained them that the concept of the pivot. So he told me that okay, the pivot concept is good, that you are going with the Gaussian thing, but explain me with the linear independence thing.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I told him the what is the definition of linear independence and how the things look like in linear independence. And after this, he was also not satisfied. So he asked me now prove me geometrically that
Oh.
how the things will work.
Here
Now
they are looking at. I mean,
every
what are the different
perspective,
views? Yes. Every
yeah,
perspective. Yeah.
yeah. That they took all the perspective that you can check, like what
Hmm.
are these things, and then I explained it geometrically as well. And after that, he just gave me this question, which is let's consider that you have all vectors in R power d, and there are n linearly independent vectors, so that n is less than d. Okay,
Yeah.
so what will be the space spanned by this set of vectors? Okay, so the if you are hearing the n and d terms, you can just consider that two vectors in R power 3. So he means this only. Okay, so two vectors in R power 3 will be just a plane, and
Yeah.
it will be a two-dimensional space in R power 3. So here it was very simple, the n-dimensional space in R power d, like that same thing. So then he went to the thing that are you familiar with eigenvectors and eigenvalues? So most people they were asking these things only, like
Yes.
eigenvectors, eigenvalues, and then they will be switching to the harder questions. So then he asked me to write down the Fibonacci series on the board. So I was quite
Okay.
shocked, like why
Yeah.
the Fibonacci
Why
series
this
in
is coming in the middle?
yeah. So yeah, I wrote the Fibonacci series on the board, and
Okay.
then he asked me that let's consider that ax equals y, and
Okay.
is a 2 cross 1 column vector, which is this x, and y is also the 2 cross 1 column vector.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and A is a 2 by 2 matrix, and the x is like two elements from here, like 0 1 or 1 1, like this,
Mm.
and two consecutive elements, and
Okay.
the y is the next consecutive element. Like if I am choosing 0 1, I have to produce this one, like I have to produce this 1 2. Okay,
Mm.
like if I am choosing this 3 5, I have to produce this a 8 13. Like I have mentioned here examples as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so then he told me what is the matrix A. He directly asked me, "What? Tell me the matrix A." So I was like again like in the panel interview that the tough question has come. Now it's my time to go home, and I cannot do this. So then I thought clearly that okay, I have to just think. very carefully what is the thing that is happening. And then I remembered the ways of matrix multiplication I have seen in Professor Gilbert Strang's videos. So
Okay.
he has shown the 5 ways of matrix multiplication. So that has quite helped me here, that how to think for a new matrix that is getting multiplied. So I just applied that concept here. Like I have taken first matrix, this one, and generated some part of it. Like you can see that I have generated from here. I've generated the five thing, 5 and 3 from here, and then I have taken another matrix, and then I have generated the 5 8, which was the required answer. Okay. So then I told the professor that yeah, I have came up with this matrix, and if I perform the matrix multiplication of this,
Mm,
and we will be obtaining the final matrix. So he told me that you find out the final matrix and then tell me the result. Okay. So I find out the final matrix and then also told the result, and I have posted a link here also, like the thing about this final matrix, that this one. Okay, so this is, I think this is somewhat different. Like it is saying like taking the consecutive elements. So you can just read it out, and there is something change in it, bit change, not a huge difference in that. And it was almost on the similar lines. Okay, so I found this link afterwards because I didn't know that these kind of questions also exist.
mm.
Okay. So after this question was over, I was like satisfied that yeah, I have done a very like
Good
new type
question.
of question.
Yes, a new type of
Yeah,
question. Yeah.
new type of question I have answered. So I think the chances will increase now for getting selected. So then he told me that now find a power 100 given that you have the eigenvalues. Okay. So I was like a power 100. How we can calculate a power 100 from this? And then he started giving out some of the hints. Then he told me that okay, do one thing, find out the eigenvalues. Okay. So I just applied some formula, that the characteristic equation formula, and then
Characteristics.
found out the eigenvalues. And then yeah, it told me that any two consecutive numbers in the series, will they be a eigenvector? So I told this no, because I wasn't quite sure that whether the consecutive numbers, like if I am telling like a x equals lambda times x, this will be the equation for the eigenvector, and that x has to be the consecutive elements. Like if I am taking 0, then it will be 1. Okay. So if I am taking a times 0x, this will give some scalar times 0 1. This will be the final answer. But this wasn't happening because the matrix itself was generating the next elements. Right. So obviously this will be not the eigenvector, since it is
Hmm.
generate the next elements again and again, and you won't get the same elements or even its multiples as well in case of the eigenvector. So why you think so? I have answered in the same way, that since it is taking to the next elements every time, so I don't think that it will generate the eigenvectors. So again, they asked me the same question. Now find out the eigenvectors of a power 100 times x. So first time I could not understand that the question was a power 100 times x, and now they told me that a power 100 times x. So I answered it like in a lightning speed, like this will be lambda power 100
Lambda
times
power.
x.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So then he was like quite happy, like, yeah, you have answered this also now. So like, yeah, I've see written here. So that was quite fast. Okay, now you have to answer a few of the bonus questions.
Bonus question.
So
Oh.
yeah, now I was very sure that now I'm going to get selected, since they are asking me some bonus questions. So they told me that you are given a matrix A, and now we are adding 2 to the diagonal element. Okay, all to the every diagonal element we are adding a scalar 2 to every diagonal of this matrix. Now, without asking me about any information about the matrix A or recomputing the eigenvalues, you have to just tell me that how you will find out the eigenvalues. So I just took out this thing, that a plus 2i, this is the operation that we are doing, times x, and if I just split this with the distributive property, which is ax plus 2i times x, and this will become lambda plus 2 times x, so which means that this is my new eigenvalue. Every eigenvalue of a can be obtained by adding the scalar 2 to its new value. Okay. So next he asks me that a minus lambda is equal to 0, and why is that a minus lambda is equal to 0? This thing is happening. So I have written out the explanation here as well. You can read it, the explanation how I have explained that. a minus lambda I times x is equal to y, the a minus lambda I times x is 0, this thing. And then he told me the final question, which was what is the complexity of computing the eigenvalues. And then he simplified it, the complexity of calculating the determinant. And then I was like, what will happen? What will happen? And I told that n square. So he told me, no, it's not n square. It's quite more than that. And you may revisit later. And there were smiles all around I was seeing. And they told me, yeah, now you can leave.
You felt positive. I mean, do you feel positive after leaving the panel?
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, you
I
can see
was
the
very
smiles
like,
who
yeah,
are
when
saying
you
that.
can see the smiles and bonus
Yeah,
question like things, then you obviously that you know that your interview is on a good side.
good said. Yeah.
Like,
Okay. One more question. So this was a panel A and panel C interview experience. Do you have something tell? I mean, do you can something tell about the panel B? I mean, you
so
know
panel
anything
B,
about panel B?
I haven't met many people, but I have met
Ah,
only one guy.
okay,
So he has chosen the operating system thing, and in DBMS also I know a few questions. So I'm telling that in the panel B, the mostly the questions were open-ended. Like since you are from systems, so you can expect any kind of questions in
okay.
systems. So he was asked questions on GPU and all those things, which was quite
Mm-hmm.
like a difficult side for any student because mostly we study about the syllabus that we are given, and GPU kind of things are not easy for us. One, yeah, we can tell. So he was asked easy questions in the beginning, like this scheduling and all those concepts, and then they shifted to like GPU. Then he was asking like the idea of multiplexer, how multiplexer works in cache, and all these diagrams they were asking.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you have chosen for computer architecture and organization, then they will jump to digital and all those operating system. Then one guy was asked about the concept of paging and then multi-level paging. These things they were asking with examples and all.
Mm-hmm.
And from DBMS, that was quite safe because DBMS doesn't have a like quite vast like in case of computer organization, you can see the means they are related to digital logic, right?
Digital logic and
Yeah,
operation.
and
Yes.
digital logic and operating systems also they are related. But in case of the this DBMS, there is no such relation in any other subject. So
Mm.
DBMS was quite based on the transaction part. So they were
Mm.
quite focusing on the transactions and like they were giving out some questions and like telling them to solve like those like number of conflict serializable schedules, those type of questions. They were
Got
just
it.
giving it out and like telling you to how you can solve these questions efficiently and these things they were asking.
Got it. Got it.
Okay, so I'm stopping the screen sharing. I'm mostly done with my entire interview experience in this thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll stop presenting. Mm, mm.
Yeah. Yeah, Ratul. And what was your experience? What was your feeling after you getting selected? You got the
So
mail
the
right of this about the selection of
yeah, yeah, yeah.
um.
So the thing was over on 7th, and I came back to home at on 9th, and I
Okay.
was very worried about it. Like everyone else will be like, what will happen? Like if I'm not selected. Like I gave almost all the questions correctly except the last one. So
Hmm.
I was like, हाँ होगा तो वही मतलब नहीं हो सकता तो नहीं ऐसा तो नहीं होगा. Then it was like, yeah, I will get I was like hoping that when the list will be out, just then I have to see that at what
Hmm.
place I am. Then the final list was out on 13th midnight. Okay, but we came to know about it on 14th. And
Okay.
14th morning, then my friend called me that the list is out on the website and you can check from there. And so I opened it very like I was tensed and I opened it. And then from last I started checking and I could not find my application number.
Okay.
Okay. So from there were 20 people who were selected out of the 1200 applications which were submitted at first. Okay, now the 20 people were like I was checking from last, and from the last two rows I could not find my application number. Then I thought that it's over, that I cannot come in the first row, it's impossible. Then I found that my name is on the third from the list. Like application number was on the third, and I
Mm-hmm.
was again up to make it sure. I just opened my all the mail IDs and application numbers from here and
Okay.
there, and then made sure that yeah, it is my application number, and finally selected at IIT Madras.
Mm-hmm.
And it was around the round one of COPE, and I had no offers in round one as well because my
Okay.
rank was high. So it was very exciting moment for me. I was like, हो गया टॉप आईआईटी में सिलेक्शन
Yeah,
नंबर वन
you did that.
नंबर नंबर वन आईआईटी.
Yeah.
So that was quite good day for me.
Yes, yes. And have you faced any difficulties after reaching there? I mean, like accommodations in hostels and food
No,
regarding that?
because when I reached there, they were giving the accommodation that day itself. It was Sunday and it was
Mm-hmm.
holiday for them. But
Mm-hmm.
still, they were working and they gave out the accommodations for us. And the room was quite spacious and good for single person occupancy. And the food was like top notch food what you will get
Okay.
in top IITs.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Finally, I want, I mean, what are the tips you are going to give to the students who are feeling that my rank is not that good, not great to get into the top IITs? And what was your words on for those people?
So, yeah, like I have told earlier, like if you have a rank of around 1500, so you
Mm-hmm.
must apply to all of these IITs. And since I have prepared for only IIT Madras this thing, so you can one thing you can I can assure you that if you are preparing well after the GATE exam and not spending too much time in the COPE groups and all those chatting things, like if you dedicate like again like gate for these things, like
Mm-hmm.
you can crack this in 1 or 2 months very easily, because these things are not that much difficult that you think that gate will, and these are, and there is no scope of making silly mistakes here also, like because it is a interview. And
Yes.
so if you have a quite good knowledge, like the things which happened with me was like I had a knowledge of many things, like concept was good, but I make a lot of silly mistakes because of the lack of practice. So
Yes.
that thing was not here. So that was a great thing. Like if you are preparing for a bit more time, like many people will give up like in February also. Like after the gate exam is over, like my studies are over, I will now study only after I get the college. So if you do that, then you won't be able to get a good college.
Yeah,
And
that's the
if your
most
rank,
important point.
yeah,
People after gate they stop studying all
studying,
the gate stuff, and the part is not over yet. But after that, you have so many interviews, so many opportunities. You have to prove
yeah.
yourself.
So
Yeah.
in IIT Bombay and IIT Delhi, IIT
Mm-hmm.
Madras, you can apply to these places. And one more thing is there, like people will fear, like my rank is 1000 plus. How can I get
Mm-hmm.
selected over a guy who has 500 rank?
Mm-hmm.
So one thing is there in all of these IITs, the gate score is just for the first round. Okay. So once you are shortlisted on gate score, it will not be used later on. So
Mm-hmm.
even if you are like there is a guy of like 800 gate score and you are just on the edge of 650, okay,
Mm-hmm.
like 670 gate score, and if you perform well in the interviews and all those rounds, so your chance will be more than getting than that guy who has more gate score than you. So gate score won't play any role in this case also. And one more thing is that you have to apply to all of these IITs, and don't think that it is just wasting the money, and you have to just keep on applying. Like if you are from OBC or EWS background, then you must apply until 2500 or more rank also.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, since the cutoff will go very low for these things in MS, and many people will not fill because they are not confident enough to come up and give interview to the professors.
Okay, okay, Ratul. And how's your preparation after the gate? And how do you prepare and what you prepare for the interviews?
Okay, so wait, let me share my screen once again. Um, So this is yeah. So this is the vlog that I was showing before. Okay. So here already I've mentioned the topics that you can prepare for linear algebra, and mostly the professors from all the top IITs and even IISc will ask you from these things only. If you are going for a machine learning profile, so you can expect from these only. about linear
Mm-hmm.
algebra. And for probability, there are also some topics that on GATE CSE syllabus that are more than enough, I would say, for GATE CSE for probability as well. Okay, and these are the resources that I've mentioned, and this is by Sachin Mittal sir from the institute name I'm not mentioning. Okay. And this is from Sachin Mittal sir, and you can just check it out. Their engineering mathematics course is quite good, and you can just start with this course to get familiar with the things, because many people are not familiar with like foreign professors. And once you are familiar with these courses, and then you can just go with any of these three appears that I've mentioned here. Like three blue, one brown will give you a better understanding geometrically, and the first two courses are quite like comprehensive courses. They are like big ones.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I've already mentioned that, and books have also mentioned it down below, but they are optional. You don't have to look into the books because they contain a lot of information which you may not require for the interview preparation as well. The interview preparation is not that hectic. You have to just give like 4 and 5 hours or 6 hours maximum per day. For you have already have 2 months time before the interview actually happens. So that is more than enough, I would
Yes.
say.
Yeah, Ratul, and you chose MS. I mean, over second gen IITs and over IIT Guwahati and Hyderabad or Roorkee, whatever. And why? What is your motive about choosing the MS?
This course is quite on research based. So many people will think that I don't want to do research and also I don't
Mm,
want to go with MS and these things. But let me tell you that these courses, once you are done with, you will get a quite good reach than that second generation IITs or even IIT Guwahati and Roorkee, because these
mm.
are from the top IITs of India, which are the top four IITs like from Bombay, Madras, or Delhi, whatever it is.
And this is
Okay.
also 3 years course, right?
Yeah, so even it doesn't matter whether it's 3 years or 2 years, because many people will be like they are already dropping 1 or 2 years for getting a better opportunity. Like in my case, I am dropping a year, so it
Mm.
won't make a thing look worth like if I'm going for the second generation IT, which I can get in the last year as well. So you can just convert it like, yeah, at least you will be satisfied that I'm doing to something that I deserve. So that
Yes,
is the
yes.
thing.
Okay, Ratul, and thanks for the session. You enlighten up a lot of things about how not to be after gate and how to study after completion of the gate, and made us realize that there are ample amount of opportunities even with a higher rank. And once again, thanks for the session.
Thank you for taking me into consideration. And I hope that a lot of students will also join these MS courses, and the awareness will be more regarding these. And
Yes,
you must join the MS and Intech courses from the various top IITs that are doing, because yeah, I already told you, I don't want to just repeat the things that these are the top IITs, and it will give you a better reach than the other IITs. You will definitely not regret it after 10 years. Like you can tell that I am from the top IITs of India,
yeah,
wherever you are in the world.
yes, yes,
So
yes, yes, Ratul. Thanks for the session. Yeah, have a
thank
nice
you.
day.